I'm your host, Bradford Lassiter, and welcome to the Lassiter Factor Monthly Reviews, the show where I break down all the movies and TV I watched during the month. And in this case, I'm breaking down everything I watched during the month of September. And if you like this video, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell me what you think in the comments. For real, because as I said in the last video, I'm trying out something different. Instead of making one video where I try to cram in everything, I'm instead making two videos. One video where I break down all the news and that happened during the month and a couple of segments I want to do for fun. And in this video, I'm breaking down everything I watched and giving some slight reviews of them. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Let me know. Let's get into it. I made another trip to the theater where I finally got to saw the new Christopher Nolan film, Tenet. I went to go see this film in the theaters. While I did enjoy watching it from a technical standpoint, some good performances by John Davis Washington, Robert Pattinson, Elizabeth Debicki, Christopher Nolan continues to show why he is one of the best modern filmmakers of our time. This is a film that will definitely warrant multiple viewings in order to truly get it. But it's still worth checking out. But even if you don't feel comfortable, I get it. Just wait until this movie hits VOD possibly. Because you definitely don't need to rush out to the theater to go see this. In fact, I really feel like Christopher Nolan, he really could have waited another year to release this film. I don't know why he had to rush this film out, but hey, it's here. We've seen it, or at least some of us have seen it, and it's definitely worth multiple watches. I gave it the thumbs up emoji. Maybe somewhere down the line after I watch it a couple more times, my rating might change, but as of right now, I give it the thumbs up emoji. Ever since the passing of Chadewick Boseman back in late August, I've been revisiting some of his work outside of Marvel. And the first is 42, the Jackie Robinson story. Now beforehand, like I said, the first time I actually saw Chadewick Boseman was on the show Licking Heights, and I thought he was great on that show. And then we got to see him in his first starring role. I thought he is onto something when I first saw this back in 2013. He really showed the confident side of him as a baseball player, but also conveyed the conflicted side of Jackie Robinson, because he was a man that stood against racism and the bigotry back in those days. And being that he is the first black man to be brought into baseball, he had to learn to keep his cool. I thought Chadewick Boseman played that so excellently. Now, the movie itself, I thought, could use a little tweaks here and there, but otherwise, Chadewick Boseman's performance, as well as the performance by Harrison Ford to bounce off of, is what carried this film, and that's why I gave it the hard eyes emoji. And then next up was Get On Up, the James Brown story, which I think is his best performance outside of Marvel, because he really showed he could do everything from singing, dancing, being a comedic actor, a dramatic actor. This could easily be him doing a James Brown impression, which could be fun in itself. Chadewick did a good job at showing the larger-than-life side of James Brown, while also showing the flawed side of him. The only negative I honestly have towards this film, and it's a negative I had back in 2014 when it first came out. As much as I like non-linear storytelling, I felt it really didn't work here, because it made the story kind of feel jumbled and unfocused at time. But regardless, Chadewick Boseman's performance yet again carries this film, and it is a crime that he didn't get nominated for an Oscar for this film, but still a performance that defined his career. And that's why I gave Get On Up the hard eyes emoji. And then finally I watched Marshall, which is stars Chadewick Boseman again as Thurgood Marshall, another historical black figure. And what I loved about this movie is that it's not a biographical film. It's just focused on one of his cases. And the story structure of this film was fun, because we get to see Thurgood Marshall in action, just being smooth and just getting the job done. And we get to see him work with Attorney Friedman, played by Josh Gad. But the story is about them pretty much proving the innocence of a black man, played by Sterling K. Brown, who pretty much got in trouble for messing with a white woman and thinking that he raped her, but he didn't. And so they prove him wrong, and it's just a feel-good movie in the end. But I like how this movie just focused on one case instead of it just being the life of Thurgood Marshall. In fact, I really could have seen this as like a little series of films where it's like one film he just focuses on one case, and then in the next film he focuses on another case, and just throughout these series of films we get to see Thurgood Marshall's life played out in front of him. Now, unfortunately, we will never get to see that, but hey, this movie is still worth the watch, and that's why I gave it the hard eyes emoji. And Chadewick Boseman's performance in this film alone, this is probably his most fun role. I loved him in this film. Check it out if you have not seen it. Now, this next film was a first-time watch for me, and that is Life. This is one of my homeboy's favorite films, and he was surprised to hear that I had never seen it. So I came home from work one day, and everybody was sitting around the TV watching it, and luckily they're at the beginning, so I said, fuck it, I might as well join in. Not only it was funny, but it was a lot deeper than I thought it was going to be, because it is about these two men played by Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence that get put in jail in life for something they did not do. This could have easily been a funnier version of Shawshank Redemption and Cool Hand Luke, which it kind of was, but it really wasn't. These two men were put in jail for life, and even though they try to escape multiple times, they still get caught. But ultimately, it's about these two black men that get put in jail for life for something they did not do, and that is a very real thing that happens now. To me, this movie does a good job at illustrating that. Granted, in a comedic way, but it shows that it sucks just growing old in prison for the rest of your life. Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence gave comedically stellar performances. If I had any negatives, it's the ending. Not that it was a bad ending. I just thought they really could have drilled home that these men are in jail in life for the rest of their life. And so commit to that. Because in the movie, they do actually escape from prison, but it's not until they're in their 90s. And at that point, it just feels a little too late.
Oh, it's a map! Don't tell me you don't know where we're going!
This April,
what life they have left.
Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence are getting all there is.
Satisfying if they escape from the prison. But regardless, still worth checking out. I gave Life the hard eyes emoji. Next up is Antebellum, which is one of the newest films to come out of 2020, but it was supposed to come out back in April, but got pushed back multiple times because of the pandemic. And so Antebellum eventually got released on VOD. Now, I won't spoil this movie because I think it's really best that you just go into this movie cold. But the best way I could describe this film is it stars Janelle Monáe. She plays a successful socialite that has some connection to a version of herself in slavery. Now, as I said in my review, is this the next Get Out? No, but it's still fun, entertaining, and fresh take on slavery films, which has become a genre in itself. I'm glad that the director has the balls to make what slavery films feels like to us black folks at this point. Horror films. Now, Antebellum is not a perfect film, but it's still an entertaining film, at least from my perspective, and I gave it the thumbs up emoji. And now for the shows I watched. Now, I finally got a chance to watch Lovecraft Country. I mean, I think I saved it on my queue at one point, and then I just picked it up. I was watching it with one of my roommates, and from the first episode, I was like, oh no, I gotta see this through, because I think at that point the show was, I believe, 4 episodes deep, and so I just started marathoning all the episodes, and I gotta tell you, each episode, it just gets crazier and crazier with each one. And the actors, Jonathan Majors, Journey Smollett, Courtney B. Vance, these are characters I like and that I love to follow, but just seeing them going through all the weird shit that happens on this show, it just keeps me coming back every week, and I can't wait to see what happens next. And I definitely can't wait to see how the season plays out in the end. And now let's go into some movie anniversaries. So celebrating their 10th anniversary are 2 movies that are worth highlighting. One that everybody knows, and the other one I personally wanted to highlight. The first one is Easy A, which I think is probably one of the best modern teen comedies from the past 10 years. And Emma Stone, she definitely carries this film with her wit and her performance. And just seeing a high school student just pretty much gets her life ruined all because of a rumor and lies. And to me, that's definitely something that is needed in this day and age. But congratulations to Easy A, happy 10-year anniversary. But the other film that came out 10 years ago is the Robert Rodriguez film, Machete. I fucking love this film. Now, granted, yes, you can't take this movie too seriously, but that's the point. It's a Mexican exploitation film starring Danny Trejo. In fact, I remember I saw the fake trailer for this film for the Grindhouse double feature that was directed by Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino. And I can imagine everybody saw that and audiences collectively stood up and said, that should be a real movie. And what do you know? Dreams do come true, and we saw it, and it is exactly everything I wanted. Just a fun, dumb, bloody, rip-roaring good time. So congratulations to Machete. I gave it the hard eyes emoji. Like I said, this is one of the best movies that you have to be an adult to watch, but have to be a teenager in order to truly appreciate it, because that's exactly my experience with this film. I was a teenager when I first saw this film, or I was in the last years of my teenagehood when I saw this film. Now, celebrating its 20th anniversary is Remember the Titans, which is not only just one of my favorite football films, it's not just one of my favorite Denzel Washington films, but one of my favorite films, period. It's yet another feel-good movie that takes place in the 70s, right when segregation was really starting to become a thing of the past, and it's about these coaches bringing the white football players and the black football players to come together, and it kind of reminds me of back when I played football back in high school. Not that there was any divide or segregation or anything, just the brotherhood, the familyhood that a football team has. It really shows that in this film. And this is probably one of the first films I ever saw Denzel Washington in, and I was like, I like him. I want to see more movies with him. Denzel Washington is one of my favorite actors of all time. In fact, I remember his opening monologue in that film when he first meets the black football players in the film. I've always memorized that. In fact, this film does take place at T.C. Williams High School, which is in Virginia, which is not far from where I live. But Remember the Titans is definitely a classic in its own right. I gave it the hands up emoji because it's definitely a classic. Congratulations, happy 20th anniversary. And now celebrating its 30th anniversary is Goodfellas, which was also a first-time watch for me. And I had another friend that was surprised I had never watched it. And so I finally sat down and watched it. And I love this film. This is definitely one of Martin Scorsese's best, with some performances from both Ray Liotta, Joe Pesci, Robert De Niro. These are three men at the top of their game, and Scorsese at the top of his game as a director. And just watching this movie and how some of the things he does in this film is he put in later films after this. And it's definitely one of the best mob movies. In fact, the legacy of this film, I can see why people like this film, because beforehand, you have movies like Scarface, which everybody loves, but you also had the more serious dramas for mob movies like The Godfather, Godfather Part 2, which took a more serious and grounded approach, but Goodfellas, it had a serious and grounded approach, but it was a little bit more quippy and funnier. And that's one of the things I gravitate towards this movie. It's just, have a little fun, keep the audience engaged. And this is definitely up there for me for as far as favorite mob movies goes. So I gave Goodfellas the hard eyes emoji. And now finally, for my last review, I am finally reviewing their live action remake of Mulan. And I won't spend too much time on this because, honestly, I'm telling you, this movie broke me. Now look, The Lion King, it's one of my favorite films of all time. And if that live action remake couldn't break me, as far as these live action remakes of classic Disney films couldn't break me, this one does. Because this one had so much potential, but just ultimately didn't. In fact, there's just so many reasons why this movie just has so many Disney fans just up in arms with just Disney and how they're handling these remakes. Because not only you suck out all the soul. Now look, I'll admit, I was fine with them not doing the songs and them not adding Mushu and everything. That's fine. Give us something different, but I just feel like the changes they made for this film just feel inferior to the original. Like for example, one of the things I loved about Mulan in the original animated film was that she was just a regular girl that put herself in a situation just for the love of her father. But no, in this movie, she's already has chi. In fact, I'm sorry, but she is a Mary Sue in this movie. She has chi and she's automatically good at everything. And then you have key moments that just feel inferior to the moments in the other films. Like when she finally cuts her hair and puts on the armor, it's all epic in the animated film. But when you watch it here, it's just like, wait, that's it? And even for like the snow battle, that just feels inferior to the original. There are a whole bunch of moments in this film that just feels inferior, and they took out all the life, and then you have a bunch of new characters, character swaps, and just... And of course, you got the controversy with this film surrounding the lead actress in the film playing Mulan, which I don't let that cloud my judgment of the film, but it's definitely stirring up some controversy. It's not the worst of these live-action remakes. I think that still goes to The Lion King, but this is probably just the most disappointing of the live-action remakes. As of right now, I'm really not excited for any more live-action remakes because I don't know what to expect, and I just think that whatever I see is just gonna leave either disappointed or just... But that's it for this first episode of the Lassiter Factor Monthly Reviews. Thank you so much for watching. Again, like, comment, share, tell me what you think. Let me know in the comment section below and tell me your thoughts on all the movies that I reviewed on this episode. And tell me your thoughts on all the movies that I reviewed in this video. So, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, wash your hands, peace.